It's Sunday, and you know what that means. It's time for another Hook of the Week. Welcome back to Black Bear Forge. Now, a lot of you have been looking in this bucket along with me every week as we do the Hook of the Week, and you have noticed some square tubing in there. So today, let's grab a piece of this square tubing that looks like a 1-inch outer diameter square tube, and we will see what we can do with this. So that makes it a 25 millimeter piece of square tubing, and it looks like it is 6.5 inches long, or 165 millimeters if we're using metric. Now, what are my thoughts on this? I had thought about trying to split it and bend it out into 4 different hooks, but I wasn't really sure what good that would be and how it would mount. I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take this under the hydraulic press. I'm going to squish the top end down a little bit, just get an isolated heat up here. Squish that down into whatever freeform shape it forms. Then I'm going to squish the whole thing flat, forge weld the end together to make this solid, leave this as freeform and organic as it wants to be, make the hook out of this end. I don't know what it's going to look like. It might be the ugliest thing in the world, but it might be really cool. So let's go start a fire and see what we get. That's definitely going to be a bizarre looking hook. Let's weld this section up here and draw that out and make a hook out of it and see what it really looks like. I'll put a little bit of flux down in there. I think I'm just going to let that wrinkle up in this dimension as well because it sort of goes with the theme of the hook. Put just a little flux in there and weld that up. This may be the weirdest hook I have ever made. Let's weld that up. I'm not worried about a perfect forge weld on this. It's sort of all about the cold shuts anyways. But we'd like it to be strong enough to be a decent hook. And of course, drawing out over the horn is typically a little bit more efficient. I'm coming up to a welding heat every time. Well, I can tell there's a spot right here that isn't welded just by the way it behaves at every heat. And because it's down in the middle, it never will be. But it shouldn't affect the strength of the hook. I can offset the hook center of that blob. I'm kind of tempted to leave that really odd shape up in there. Kind of like that back and forth bend. I may try to reintroduce that here. A little bend over or curl there. I'm just going to bend this over the horn. This is such a free-form hook, I think bending it in a jig might be out of place. Although you still want it to be a decent hook. That looks like it'll sit flat against the wall. Let's punch a hole in it. This one will need a lag bolt for a wall attachment. It's going to be pretty thick. I'm going to have a pretty big hole. Cooling the punch off there. Not quite all the way through. It actually punched a slug from one layer of that blob. Need to punch the rest of it. So now it's got a hole all the way through it. And other than cleaning up the actual hook a little bit, because it's gotten a little lopsided, I think we're about done with it. It's definitely weird. It's a good place for these round nose pliers. Thing really wants to be off. That's my usual paste wax finish. And of course wipe off the excess. But remember, you have to stick around to the last 30 seconds if you want to see the close-up of the finished hook. So I hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, but stay safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you later.